people think the law of attraction works on their conscious mind, but it actually works on their unconscious mind.
Yeah.
So if people sit and consciously think I'm going to attract a car or a bike or a romance or better health, that's fine. But if they have unconscious beliefs, what I call counter intentions, they can stop what they want to come into their lives. So the secret was an introduction, but it doesn't explain everything. As an introduction, it's beautiful. And thank God we made it, you know, I'm grateful for it. Well, the next step is to understand how the unconscious mind works. The conscious mind doesn't have all that much power. We think it does, and we sit and visualize, and we do our scripting, we do our affirming, but again, the powerhouse is the unconscious mind. That's the next step. That's where we have to go, because all of our beliefs, all of our memories, all of our data, all of our negativity, all of it is in the unconscious mind. When we clean up the unconscious mind, then you can consciously ask for something, and more often than not, you'll get it, and you'll get it very fast because you won't have any interference. The interference comes from your own unconscious mind. Well, the first thing to do is actually ask for help from your own unconscious mind. The beliefs that are in your unconscious mind are not buried and they're not hidden. You can uncover them, you can tease them out. And you can do that by starting to ask questions like, what might I believe that would stop me from attracting money? What might I believe stop me from attracting a romance? What might I believe to stop me from having better health? And you can start to have those beliefs surface, and then when they come up, because there could be things like, I don't believe it's possible, I don't believe I deserve it, I've never seen an example in my life, there's all kind of negativity that'll come up. Welcome it and question it. Ask yourself, do you believe it's true that you can attract money? Do you believe it's true you can attract your soulmate? Do you believe it's true you can attract better health or the romance or the job or whatever it happens to be? And what you're doing is slowly unearthing your own evidence for your limiting beliefs. As you look at them, you start to weaken them, and then they can disappear. That's one way that you can do it. But when you get rid of the negative beliefs, that calling, that mission, that life path is there for you. You don't have to go and put new beliefs there. There's already a divine belief. You can unleash it, you can live it at that point. There's no interference at that point. In order to become wealthy, the very first thing that people have to do is be okay with money. We have unconscious beliefs about money. I can say the question, or even this statement, I can say this statement, money is the root of all, and everybody's going to say evil. Well, think about this. If you consciously sit there and say, I'm going to attract more money, I'm visualizing more money, I am now becoming wealthy, but unconsciously you think money is evil, you're not going to want it in your life. You're going to push it away. Or you allow a little bit to come into your life, and then you'll have an accident, you'll have a problem, there'll be a lawsuit, there'll be something to get rid of the money, because unconsciously you think it's evil. So the first thing to do is make peace with money. Money's okay, money's neutral, money is nothing but some agreed upon means of exchange. The second thing to do is be okay with yourself. Most of us don't like ourselves. Most of us don't love ourselves. We don't appreciate ourselves. So when it comes to good things, we think we're not really worthy. We're not really deserving. We're not really good enough. And so whether it's money or the relationship or anything else that you think is good for you, you might think, I'm not really good, and you will push it away. So the two things to become wealthy, one is be okay with money itself. Second is be okay with yourself having money. You don't worry about money first. You worry about, am I doing what I'm here to do as my personal calling, my personal mission, my divine calling? As you do that, either money is going to come to you, or at that point you can start to have an eye towards, well, how can I charge for this? How can I make more money for this? What are the rules of money that I can bring that into my life? But that's not the focus. There are numerous stories of people who have just followed their own dreams, and by following their dreams, everything else fell into place. When you focus on money, you can actually put a block up from focusing on your own heart path, following your own divine calling. Well, money is a means to an end. Too many people focus on the money, and they don't realize that what they really want is what the money will bring them.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is, okay, say you won the lottery, or say you inherited money, say that you had some sort of abundance fall into your lap. What are you going to do with it? That's more important to look at, because somebody may say, well, I've always wanted to open my own restaurant. Now I will open my restaurant. Well, then forget about the money, focus on the restaurant. That's your dream. Somebody else might say, I've always wanted to write a children's book. Focus on the children's book, not on the money to get to the children's book. There's lots of ways to obtain what you want. Money is simply one of them. When we focus too much on money, we become blind to all the other possibilities that are around us. Things can be given to you, things can be won, there's all kinds of exchanges, bartering, any number of possibilities. Money's only one of them. I was homeless. I was in poverty for a very long time. I did go through the struggles, the dark night of the soul, and throughout it all I was trying to find what was my purpose, what am I here to do. Throughout my life I had played with different possibilities. I thought I was going to be a magician at one point, an entertainer. I thought I was going to be a lawyer at one point, which I think is funny today. I thought I was going to be a detective at one point. I thought I was going to be a baseball player at one point. I was trying to find myself. When I decided that I wanted to be an author, and I decided because I realized I can be all of those different characters in stories that I could write, it felt like being an author had more power. And as I sat with that and pursued that, I realized that I wanted to write things that made a difference in people's lives. At first I wanted to write comedy because I thought, well, if I could make them laugh, they'd be able to forget their problems. And the first real success in writing I had was I wrote a one-act play that was produced in Houston. I think it was in 1979, and it won first place. It was a comedy. And I got a taste of this might be my calling, to go in this direction of having people change their lives. So I just began pursuing it. It took a long time for me to get through my own limiting beliefs because I had beliefs about money, I had beliefs about deservingness, my self-worth was horribly low. Whenever you've been homeless or you've been in poverty, you really struggle with, am I worthy of life itself? Am I worthy of anything good? I had to go through all of that and pretty much did it by myself. We didn't have the internet, we didn't have a lot of the bells and whistles and gifts and lessons and teachers that we have. Thank goodness for the public library. That's where I lived, that's where I got shelter, that's where I got my knowledge from all the other authors. So I just kept putting one foot in front of the other until things began to get published, things began to work out. I even wrote a book that was so impactful. A woman in Australia called me and said, I love your book, I'd like to put you in my movie. I'd never been in a movie before. Turned out to be The Secret, which changed my life, which put me out there on the radar for people to see, and of course put me on Larry King, other movies, other opportunities like this, more books. So it's been a long road, but I went from homeless nobody to the lifestyle of the rich and famous. Part of finding your path is the path. And what I encourage people to do is look at, where do you get the most joy? Where do you get the most fun? What would you do even if the money wasn't involved? You'd want to do it even if you weren't paid. I love writing so much, it doesn't matter that I get paid for it. I would prefer it because it enables me to have a lifestyle that enables me to keep writing. But even if there was this world where I wasn't getting paid for it, I'd still get up and write because I think it's my mission. It's my personal calling. Each person has one. I think each of us has our own piece of the puzzle. I once gave a talk where I passed out a jigsaw puzzle. And I said, everybody take a piece of the puzzle. And I stood in front of the group and I said, okay, look at your piece of the puzzle. And they would look at it and it makes no sense because all I have is that one irregular piece. But I said, when you take your piece and we all come up front and we put our piece on the table, it makes this beautiful painting. Yeah. That's life. You have a piece of the puzzle, I have a piece of the puzzle, these people have a piece of the puzzle. When we all contribute our passion, we follow our calling, life works. Yeah, the greatest life lesson for me is to appreciate the moment. And this is part of what I am teaching people when I get on a soapbox about, is that this moment right now is absolutely wonderful. It is just divine, perfect. When we start to think about the past, whether we fantasize about it or miss it or complain about it, or we start to think about the future because we're dreaming about that and we're fearing it or worried about it or wanting it to be a particular way, we've missed this moment. This moment is the point of power. This moment is where all the action is. When we think about the past, we do it in this moment. When we think about the future, we do it in this moment. And everybody thinks, well, when I get the relationship or the job or the money or the health or whatever, then I'll be happy. You can be happy right now. And here's the grand joke, the big insight. When you're happy now, you can speed up the attraction of all those other things you said you want.